State meteorologist Michelle Podell is joining us now. She's going to answer one of your questions. What do you have this week?
Well, I have a question from Jeff. Jeff is actually one of our sound guys,
okay.
So I'm answering one of his questions. Here it is. How is visibility measured? I thought that was a really interesting question, and this is what he's talking about. This is an example. So when there is fog that is formed across the region, we often show you a map like this. Shows you what the visibility is, and you'll notice in this example, Decorah, under a mile. All of these are measured in miles, and anything under 10 miles, you do have some reduced visibility. So this is what he's talking about, and this is what I'm going to show you. So there are two ways. The first way being human observation. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's also known as prevailing visibility, but what it is, it's the estimate of visibility based on the distance that someone knows of certain objects and landmarks that are around you. And this is often done in a full 360-degree circle around the person, around the observation point. So you could just be your own human observer and check out and try to figure out the visibility. Now, the other way, the more widely used way, is an automated sensor, and these are located at most airports across the country. So, as I mentioned, a lot more widely used than a human observer, and these don't measure how far the sensor can see, obviously, because it doesn't have eyes, but it measures how the clarity of the air, how clear the air is. So the sensor is not being affected by terrains, buildings, things like that. And this visibility is determined by the intensity of the scattered light. So basically there's a beam of light going out trying to see how clear the air is. So the more moisture, dust, snow, rain, or particles that are in the air, the more light is scattered. And these observations are taken every 30 seconds, but then every minute the sensor processes 10 minutes of sensor data to get a good representation of how much you can see in the air. So which is better, human versus automated? Well, they both have their pros and cons. The automated sensors are obviously more objective, they're more consistent, they're more used, more often used. And while the human observers, you know, you might actually think, well, it's good for a human observer because that's actually what we're seeing as people in terms of fog. But, you know, you face physical limitations like terrain, buildings, your point of view, your angle. But then the automated sensors are only measuring the air moving through that sensor. So there could be some discrepancies there, but the automated one is which is used a lot more because they are at airports, and airplanes need to know what's going on, and people traveling need to know what's going on. But I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting. There's both ways to do it, and there you go, little nugget of information for your Tuesday.
It would be more difficult for the human observers. You'd have to know exactly that that is 1 mile away, that is 3 miles away, that is. So, yeah, more difficult, but still useful, obviously. Well, that was a great question. If you have a question you would like to ask Michelle.
Well, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at News 8 Michelle. Otherwise, one of our many Facebook pages, News 8 This Morning, Storm Team 8 Weather, or my page, WKBT Michelle Podell. Post it there. I may just answer it here on the show.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. We've got